Hello everyone, I greet in the name of God Almighty. My name is Apostle Newton Silas, and today guys we're doing the legacy of Prophet Ibrahim. That is part 4, the part 4 of the Prophet series. Of course, I did the part 1, the 2, and then the 3. I did not know that we actually have the part 4, but then I was told to react to the part 4 even though it is long, so we're going to divide it into 2 different segments. It's 43 minute, and my camera cannot record more than 30 minutes, so I will just divide it into 2, and then after that we're going to react to the rest of it, of course. So if today happens to be the first time of you checking out my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, before we get on to the video, I'm a theologian and I make this video not to discredit anyone's religion. This is basically for educational purposes, and I believe that at the end of this video we all are going to learn from it. I believe that for some of you who have been following, I believe that you have learned how God called Prophet Ibrahim. We have looked at his life in Babylon or Iran, we'll look at in Egypt, and now we'll be going straight to Palestine. So let's get down to the video and check out this part 4 of the Prophet series. I believe that we're supposed to actually react to this before we do Salih, that's the nation of Talmud, but then it was after doing it before you are like, oh no, I could have do the part 4, so that's why I have to come back to this. All right, so pardon me. So if you're watching for the first time, then you have to tune in, go to my channel and look at the part 1, the part 2, the 3, and now the part 4, so that you can all follow up. All right, so let's get on to the video and check this out.
When Ibrahim alayhi realized that the Egypt is not the place to stay in, he migrated from Egypt to Palestine. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the doors of blessings to Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, amma ba'd.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open to him his gates of wealth.
They had lots of barakah and blessings in their business. He had so much sheep and he had so much in terms of wealth, and he became quite a wealthy person.
But there was one thing missing in Ibrahim's life.
Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam is married to our mother Sarah. 1 year of marriage passes and there is no child, and the Khalil of Allah turns to Allah and begs Allah, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Oh Allah, I beg you, give me a pious son. 2 years of marriage pass and there is no child, and Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam makes this dua, oh Allah, give me a pious son, give me a righteous son. 5 years of marriage pass and there is still no child, and Ibrahim is still making dua, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. 10 years of marriage pass and there is still no child, and Ibrahim is still making the dua, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. 15 years of marriage pass, 20 years of marriage pass, 25 years of marriage pass, 30 years of marriage pass. The years are passing by. There is no child. Allah is not responding. Allah is not answering the dua of Sayyidina Ibrahim. But Ibrahim a.s. keeps on bowing. Ibrahim a.s. keeps on crying. Ibrahim a.s. keeps on asking. He keeps on making dua. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. As every day passes, Sayyidina Ibrahim a.s. is becoming older. As every day passes, Sayyidina Ibrahim ﷺ is becoming weaker. Slowly but surely, the color of his hair are changing. Our mother Sarah has now got to an age in which women normally do not give birth. But look at the level of iman of the Khalil of Allah. When it came to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, there was no such thing as despairing. Why should Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam despair? Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam knew, one that loses hope in the mercy of Allah, this individual is a loser in the dunya, and this individual is a loser in the akhirah. Why should he lose hope in the mercy of Allah? Ibrahim was making dua to the Allah that is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. That Allah, that is the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi. That Allah, that is the Lord of the entire universe. That Allah, that is the Al-Qadir, that has the power to do as He pleases, whenever He pleases. He was making dua to that Allah that can make the impossible possible.
When he's at the age of 80, Allah reveals a whole set of laws, a whole sharia. And Ibrahim is told in this set of laws, he is given the Abrahamic covenant that all true followers of Abraham are told to fulfill. He is told to circumcise. He's the only believer. There is no other believer that can circumcise him. And so at the age of 80, our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us, as an 80-year-old man, when the laws come down, he circumcises himself.
Wow.
So Sarah saw and felt Ibrahim
So circumcise himself.
is loving to have a child. He's 85 years old. And the unfortunate thing is Ibrahim didn't have a child because Sarah was barren. She doesn't give birth. So Sarah felt that it's time for her to give something back to Ibrahim. So she gave his slave Hajar a present to Ibrahim. Here's Hajar, or Ibrahim, take her. She is yours now. Get married to her. Have children from her. May Allah bless you and her and us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed that to happen. And Ibrahim alayhi salam accepted Hajar and then married her.
Then one day, my young friend, at the age of 86, the dua of Ibrahim was accepted. At the age of 86, the dua of Ibrahim was accepted. And who was Ibrahim? The Khalil of Allah. The Khalil of Allah, the near and dear friend of Allah. Allah befriended him. And his dua has been accepted at the age of 86.
Wow.
The child is now born. And the name of this child is Ismail. My young friends, Ismail alayhi salam has come into the world.
Sarah, now when she saw Ibrahim spending a lot of time with Ismail, and who's the mother of Ismail, Hajar, and the attention now is taken away from Sarah to Ismail and Hajar, jealousy started playing. And Sarah will get so jealous that she could not even stand Hajar or the son of Hajar, Ismail. And then the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come to Ibrahim. Allah Azza wa Jal ordered Ibrahim alayhi salam to take Hajar and his new baby born Ismail in the middle of a valley by the name of Mecca, where there's nothing there, and leave him alone and come back to Sarah.
Now Mecca, my young friends, wasn't like what Mecca is today. Mecca was a barren desert. There was nothing in Mecca. No houses, no trees, no buildings, nothing. No water, nothing. The only thing that you would find in Mecca in those days was burning heat, scorching heat, burning sun, and mountains that have become black because even they can't tolerate the heat.
The order of Allah came, and that's enough. He took them when Hajar did not know what the plan was. When they reached the middle of the desert, which is where Mecca is today, right near the Kaaba, which is built today. There was nothing there, but they settled down with a bit of water and a bit of food. Suddenly, Ibrahim alayhi salam stood up, turned his back and began to walk the other way. Hajar walked up to him and said, "Ya Ibrahim." He didn't reply. Ibrahim, he didn't reply, kept walking. She knew something was wrong. She said, "Are you leaving us?" He kept walking. Ibrahim alayhi salam did not answer. He kept looking to the ground, not even looking at her, and walking straight ahead.
And Hajar calls out, "Oh Ibrahim, where are you going? Oh Ibrahim, where have you left us? There is nobody here, there's no food, there's no water." And Ibrahim, can you imagine, every father amongst us, he hears his son crying. He hears his wife begging and pleading. He has been told by his Lord to leave them. He continues walking, and Hajar understands that this tender man, this loving father, this husband would never do this unless his Lord has told him. And so Hajar asks him, "Oh Ibrahim, has Allah told you to do this?"
Finally, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam responded and said, "Yes." Hajar radiallahu anha said, "Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not neglect us." That's it. She didn't talk with him further. "Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you to do this?" "Yes." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of us. He will not neglect us. This is the Iman. This is the Iman of this mother Hajar, the mother of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is her Iman.
He continues to walk. And when he gets to a place where she can no longer see him and Ismail can no longer see him, Sayyidina Ibrahim Islam turns to Allah. Oh Allah, I've left my only child. Oh Allah, I've left my wife in this barren land. Oh Allah, there's nothing here, nothing grows here. There's not even water in the Baytik al-Muharram right next to your sacred house. Why? So that they establish salah. Oh Allah, I beg you, fill the heart of some from amongst men with love towards them. And oh Allah, give them thamarat, give them fruits, so that they may be grateful.
The hearts of believers are pulled over. Why? Dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ya Allah, turn the hearts of the people to them. And he left them there. Then he went back to his other wife back in Sham. And some ulama, they say he came back after 10 years. No mobile phones, text messages, Skype, Viber, WhatsApp. 10 years, no contact.
And her husband is leaving her alone, a helpless mother. Hajar sat down. She would breastfeed him and she would eat from that dates and drink from that water until she ran out of dates and ran out of water and ran out of milk. Now Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam is crying and weeping. Ismail alayhi salam was curling on himself because of the hunger, and he was hitting the ground with his feet, and he was crying as if he was dying. At that moment, Hajar could not sit down any further. Even there is nowhere to go, but she couldn't handle seeing her child dying in front of her eyes. So she went on top of a mountain that was close to her. She climbed that mountain, and that mountain is As-Safa. She looks from the top of the mountain if she can see anyone. She saw no one. Walked down the mountain and she ran through the valley, and then she climbed another mountain. The name of that mountain is Al-Marwa. And she got to the top of the mountain, looking around if she can see anyone. She saw no one. And she walked down the mountain, ran through the valley, climbed down As-Safa again.
So she goes to the mountain of Marwa, the mountain of Safa, the mountain of Marwa. She goes back and forth 7 times. And these very days, the pilgrims, 3 million of them, will commemorate that walk that she gave between Safa and Marwa, back and forth, back and forth.
Subhanallah, Sayyidatina Hajar at that moment was afraid, had fear in her heart. She was running with worry. If she knew what will happen, she would be climbing those mountains with big smile on her face. If she knew that the nations of the world, millions and millions of them, are going to follow her tracks and follow her sunnah and follow her way, she would be making that trip with a big smile on her face. When she got on top of Al-Marwa, that's the end of 7th climbing, she heard a voice. So she said, "Quiet, who is she speaking to?" She is speaking to herself out of confusion. She is telling herself, "Be quiet." And then she is trying to listen. She heard a voice again, and she addresses the voice, "I beg you, reveal yourself if you can help me. I beg you, help me." She saw an angel, leader of the angels, Jibreel alayhi salam, descended specially to that spot where Ismail alayhi salam is laying down. And the angel started picking up the dirt with his wing or with his foot until water started flowing from the ground.
A spring of water gushing from nowhere. She looked at it and she thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And she wanted to gather the water. So she created a basin-like structure with her hands, with the muddy sand. And she began to say in the language Zam, 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 Zam. It means stop, stop, stop. Because we want to now take you and drink you. So you stop. To this day we have this water known as Zam Zam from the same well.
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if Hajar would have left it alone, it would have been a flowing river.
To this day, we cannot explain how so much water is coming for the city of Mecca, how millions of pilgrims throughout the year come, and the water never finishes. The water never finishes. It is an unceasing well of water that has lasted for the last 4,000 years in the city of Mecca.
Wow.
Now Sayyidatina Hajar has water, but she doesn't have food, she doesn't have company. So she still needs the social needs and the psychological needs.
And when water exists in a place, life starts. So animals start to come around and everything starts to revolve around it. And at that time, there was a big civilization taking place in Yemen. And the people of Yemen had a great flood. So they migrated from Yemen and they were looking for another place to live in. And when someone wants to live in a place, the first thing they want to see is there water around. So there was a tribe by the name of Jurhum. And Jurhum is one of those Arab tribes. They were traveling through the Arabian Peninsula.
They saw in the sky birds hovering. Birds in the desert means water. They said, "We know that there is no water over there. So what are these birds doing?" So they sent 1 or 2 men to go and investigate. So the men went rushing. They came back with the good news that there is water in the middle of the desert.
They were very, very amazed. They came, they knew this is a miracle. So they asked the woman,
"Would you allow us to camp here?" These are a group of men, fighters, in the middle of the desert, taking permission from a woman and her child. If they wanted, they could have eliminated her with a move of a hand, with a strike of a sword. But they were very noble, and they got a strange answer. She said, "Yes, but you have no rights in the water. The water belongs to us."
"We'll allow you to drink from it, but it's our property, not yours. So you can drink and benefit. But, subhanallah, it is not yours." To this day, Zamzam is not sold. To this day, it belongs to us all. We can drink from it. Because that Zamzam is for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
But they accepted. They say, "Yes, we agreed." And that is how Jurhum came to stay in that area. And that is the beginning of the settlement.
Wow.
And then they lived there.
Wow.
And civilization started to take place in Mecca, and life started to take place in Mecca.
Ismail alayhi salam grew up among these people.
And as the child grew, they taught him Arabic. They were pure Arabs. And as he grew up, his father used to come and go. His father, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, when he came back, at one stage he'd seen, mashallah, this is the setup, and he was quite happy with it, and he used to come and he used to go.
He would love him, he would kiss him, embrace him, play with him. He would do as a normal father does with his child. Every day this child is growing and growing, and this bond is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger.
And now he becomes a young adolescent. He starts to help his father. He is running around. He's helping his father. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he sees a dream. And the dreams of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam are true. They are revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does he see? He sees that he is sacrificing, he's slaughtering his son. Allahu Akbar.
It was a test to see who he loved more, Allah or his son. Can you imagine at the age of 95? At the age of 95, one son he has. He thinks he's about to die in a few years. He has no progeny left. The amount of love he must have for this child.
And as soon as he saw this dream, look at the level of Iman. Without questioning Allah, without thinking, without pondering, without making mashwara from his wife Hajar or any other family member, immediately he approaches Sayyidina Ismail and says, "O Ismail, this is the dream that I saw. I saw that I was offering you in sacrifice. Tell me, what is your opinion?"
Ismail alayhi salam didn't say,
What
sort of dad are you, man? You left me and my mom back here in the jungle, and then you went away. You didn't give any care in the world about us. And now you come back and you telling me you want to slaughter me? What sort of dad are you, man? No. That wasn't Ismail. Ismail alayhi salam.
He's no ordinary child. This wasn't my child or your child. This was Ismail. Sadiq al-Wa'd, Allah says in the Quran. Sadiq al-Wa'd.
Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam said, "O Father, do whatever you have been commanded. You will find me from amongst those who are patient."
So Ibrahim walked away and he took his son. And his son followed his father.
And so he lays him down. And he raises the axe, he raises the sword. And of course Shaitan appears in front of him. And Shaitan says, "Have you gone crazy? Have you gone mad? He is your only son. What are you doing? How can you kill him?" And so he pelts him with 7 stones. And Shaitan goes away. So Ibrahim doesn't want to remain in the same place. So he goes to another place to make sure Shaitan doesn't come back. Once again Shaitan comes back. Once again he pelts him with 7 stones. And once again he takes him to another place. And those 3 places, Jamrat al-Kubra, Jamrat al-Sughra, Jamrat al-Wusta, to this day, the very point that Ibrahim alayhi salam tried to sacrifice his son, we commemorate it. The pilgrims commemorate it. They will commemorate it 3 days in a row. They're going to stone these pillars as a symbol that Shaitan will never cause me to come between me and the commandments of Allah.
And then they come to a big rock. Suitable to put Ismail, to lay Ismail on it and to slaughter him. And subhanallah, ikhwani, look what Ismail tells his father at that time.
"Oh my father, tie me with a belt so I do not shake, because if I shake, your heart will soften. And at the same time, keep your clothes away from my blood. Because if your clothes are covered with my blood, when you return, if my mother is to see this, it will sadden my mother. My mother will not be able to bear and tolerate. And when you return home, convey my salam to my mother and remind her of the reward of the sabirin." Sayyidina Ibrahim ﷺ naturally began to cry. And he said to his son, "How helpful you are, my son." Ibrahim is crying. Ismail is crying. The angels in the heaven are crying. And Allah is addressing the angels, "Ya malaikati, O my angels, look at this servant of mine. Is he now worthy of being the Khalil? Is he now worthy of my friendship or not?" And the angels in the voice, "Oh Allah,
This is serious.
what? Then we would not be able to
I can't just believe what I'm hearing for the first time. Like, wow. Okay, fine. I know that I've decided to pause this at the middle of this video, and like I told you, my camera cannot record beyond that, so I'll pause this, then I'll continue with the last part of it, which is be like the second segment of this part 4. But then some of the things that I have gotten from this video, like this information are just God. Okay, let's look at it this way. I know based on the Christian perspective that Hagar, being the servant of Sarah, gave her to Abraham. He lay with her and gave birth to Ishmael, which is normal, right? Which is the same thing as how the Bible put it concerning about Ishmael, right? And then about the promise of God that he says to Abraham when he called him, despite the fact that when we watched the video, was talking about how Sarah has been praying, Abraham has been praying for God to bless him with a pious child, or shall I say a righteous child or a noble child, right? But then these things was not happening. 80 years does not happen. 85 years she was like, oh no, look, take Hagar. That's the girl that was given to her when they left Egypt, right? Yeah, that's for some of us who have been following all these series. Take her as a wife, right? And then from there he took her. They gave birth at 86. They gave birth at the end of the day. Ishmael came in, right? When Abraham began to pray with Ishmael and all those things, showing love and all that, that's when the jealousy came in. So when the jealousy came in a stand from Sarah and all those is not being happy, to the point that Abraham have to take her, right? Take Hagar or Hajar. That's according to this video is calling her Hajar. Took Hagar and then to the middle of the desert and her son, which is who? Which is the Ishmael, right? And then while they were there, right, while he took them there, then he decided to turn away and then begin to walk back, right? Like that's like leaving her and the baby over there with the little water and the milk that was with them, right? And then she began to cry. What is happening? Why are you leaving us? And then he did not say anything until Hagar now asked him that, is it God that says you should do this? And then he did not hesitate. He said, yes, God. At that point in time, it's kind of very heartbroken. But anyway, he was very brave. He was very brave. But immediately he said so. Hagar understood. I think Hagar showed a very high level of faith here, because she believed in God, and then she also believed in Abraham. She also knows that Abraham cannot do anything on its own unless God commanded him to do. And that's why when Abraham says that yes, it was God that commanded him, and then she kept quiet, and then she says that if it is God that said this to you, that says that you should do this, that you should come and leave us in the middle of the desert, then definitely God is going to take care of them. And that's how it happened. Days goes by, right? And then the milk finished, the water finished, right? The baby, you understand, is dying, right? It becomes weak. You know, you stay without food, no water, nothing. The baby was just dying. And then that's when Hagar, right, begins to need a help. And according to the video, that's when she began to move from one mountain to another. That's the mountain Safa and mountain Al-Wada, something like that, right? She began to move within those two mountains, right? Going up, she will not see anything, return to the other one until 7 times before Jibril appeared, right? And then that's where, you understand, he was able to give them the water, right? And that's when the water, in a sense, decided to start gushing. And that's at the middle of the desert, right? And according to the video, that's when he says that they call it the Zamzam, like the water of Zamzam. Like, I was just busy wondering what is that Zamzam means and all that. You see how these videos are educative. Seriously, if you kind of put your mind like and you want to learn, seriously, you learn a lot. If you want to keep sentiment away from it, you're gonna learn a lot. But very interesting part of it is getting to where that makes me to feel very surprised was when it says that after 10 years Abraham will come and check on them and all those things. And then when there was a flood in the sea in the Yemen, and then the people decide to migrate it, and then Hagar says to them that no, look, you can stay here, but the water belongs to us, it remains our own property. It means that before they do anything, they have to take permission from them. Like, this is just a very interesting one. But then the most part of it is that I didn't know is that that's when Abraham came back and then he wanted to sacrifice Ishmael, because in the Bible it was saying that it was Isaac. Now I'm learning that it is Ishmael. So now I'm now confused. Like, so what we're going to do is that let's get down to the second segment. Then we're going to know what exactly happened and how did Abraham handle it. Did he sacrifice him? Did he sacrifice him? And how did God deal with these issues? I believe that we're going to learn that at the second segment. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share and subscribe. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So remain blessed, and I see you in the second segment of the part 4. Bye bye.